guys. Happy Tuesday. Trisha Turner here. This is another episode of Walk Away Wealthy. Walk Away Wealthy is a podcast every week to bring you guys positivity, bring you success stories and secrets to help you grow your business and improve your life. And today we have another success story with this dear friend of mine, Sarah Underwood. And I'm super excited to share her story. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, I'm so excited to be on today.
Heck yeah. If you guys don't know Sarah Underwood and don't know like our backstory, I've known her, I'm not like, how many years has it been now, Sarah? Do you know?
Like 7, probably.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So she was part of my independent brokerage years ago, which was Trisha Turner Properties. I switched over to EXP 4.5 years ago. Sarah came with me. And then so we're going to share her story. I'm going to let her share her story, but through it all, fast forward, she left the EXP for a little bit and now she's back. Sarah, so that people like learn a little bit about you, let's share some of your backstory, like where you are in the world now, how long you've been in real estate, and then we'll just kind of dive right into it.
Yeah, so I have been in real estate since 2016, started off on a team, just kind of doing ISA work, officially licensed in the end of 2016, started real estate, selling houses in 2017. And then I think I joined you in 2017, right? Like the middle to end of 2017.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, once you moved to EXP, of course, I went with you. And then life just happened. And I moved out of the Katy area to Burleson County, which most of you probably have no clue where that is. If you're in the Houston area, you maybe have heard of Lake Somerville. That's where I live now. And when I moved out here, it was 2020. So everything was shut down, COVID, wasn't meeting people. It was just like, it was such a, I guess, bad year for me just because I didn't know anyone. I ended up getting referred. It was kind of weird how it happened, but I got referred some lots to list in Lake Somerville. This is when I was still at EXP. And of course, I had no clue about lots or land yet at all. Nothing like that. And someone had posted on Facebook that they were looking for lots for sale. Now, I had not been to this property, didn't even know how to locate it. There wasn't a physical address or anything like that. I had no clue. But I commented on it and I was like, I have 4 lots coming for sale for this price. Like I had already priced it and everything. And this lady messages me, her name's Jennifer, and she's like, why are you selling these so cheap? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I just ran numbers and these are the numbers I got. And she's like, are you a realtor? And I was like, well, yeah, but I just moved here. Like I am, but I don't know anything out here, you know? And so I always say she internet bullied me. But she was like, hey, come talk to me. I have a brokerage with a partner and I would just love to talk to you, whatever. So I was like, okay. And I went into this meeting knowing that I was not leaving EXP. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to bring these people to EXP. And things didn't really go as planned. The main reason I left was just because out here at the time, big brokerages weren't really a thing, especially not anything technology related. It's very old school out here, or was, I should say. Times are starting to change now, but then it was your local brokerages, and that's how you made a name out here. The brokerages were known, and there's a few in our area that are the known people. So I was like, it was hard. I had to go sit in Trisha's office and cried for like an hour. And I was like, I'm leaving you, but this is why. Like, I just, I needed the help. I didn't know anything about lots and lands and farm and ranch and all of that. So I ended up moving and going back to a small boutique style brokerage. And back on the lot story, They ended up having a huge oil well on it. And the property was completely gated. I had no way of accessing it. I learned so much. I had to like call this oil company, and I tried to get them to buy it because I was like, I can't list this property, like it's gated. And it was such a big mess. I never actually even sold it. I think they sold it to like a cash investor because I was like, this is, knowing what I know now, I probably could have sold it, but back then I didn't have the confidence. So I was just like, I don't know what to do with this.
No.
Now I probably would list it and say someone will buy it. But yeah, so I spent 2 years, almost 2 years at that company, learning farm and ranch and everything. And now I am back at EXP.
And so I want to understand like some of that, a lot of that.
Yeah.
So you guys, like so we're in the Katy, Richmond, Fulshire area, and she moved, it was Snook that you moved to, wasn't it?
So I'm actually in between Snook and Somerville. We have one stretch of road that's FM 1361, and technically our little city is called like Schofield, but it's not even on the map. There's only like one map that shows our city. So I think school district, we're zoned to Snook, but we have a Somerville mailing address. So that's where I am.
And so y'all Sarah's leaving like a major area where she's got help and support, and she's used to go off into an area where she didn't know anyone by herself with EXP, which is like brand new to that area. And I swear, like I commend you because you did give it your all. And it was like sad because I remember you would call me and you'd be crying like you didn't have any help, and you were like, I know I can do this, but it's so hard. I'm like completely by myself.
Yeah.
So I understood when you left, and I remember we had that conversation. It's like, well, maybe you can get them to switch over.
Yeah, yep. And I was getting referrals from other people at EXP, which was such a huge help when I got them. But being in such a small area, those referrals are few and far between. Like most people don't even know what this area is. And I did get like one or two for College Station, which is, I guess, our closest big city other than Brenham. But College Station is honestly a whole nother market. And I did close those. It was two different buyers. I did close those, but again, the referrals are so few and far between that it wasn't enough to like sustain my income at the time. And then I wasn't meeting people, and I'm like, all that's out here, Trisha, is land. I'm like, it's just acreage and land and cows. And what do I do with this?
It's a whole different market.
Yeah, you don't door knock out here. You don't that's not a thing. You walk on someone's property out here and you get shot.
It's a whole different world.
Oh yeah.
So if you think like where you came from and what you were used to, and then going there out on your own, completely on your own, so you knew kind of what you were missing, like what you needed, and then you found it in a different place because they were local. Let's talk about that a little bit. What did you think you were getting when you switched from what we had at EXP then to what you were getting at that company you switched to?
So I knew leaving EXP, I was like losing a lot, I should say, as far as one, just the amazing people you're connected with, the classes, the trainings, the technology, the stock shares, bringing people into EXP. I knew I was losing all of that, which, I mean, that's a lot to lose, honestly, to have to like trade that out and then go to a company that was a higher cap, a higher monthly fee. If you wanted to rent an office space, of course, that was extra. Technology wise, we did have a good CRM. I will say that. But other than that, it wasn't to the level of like EXP. But I knew that going into it, and I knew that I had to trade all of those things temporarily to learn farm and ranch and to learn and to build a name more so in this small town. So yeah, I mean, I gave up a lot, but I was like, I think I always knew that this is temporary. I was told that, if I got my broker's license, of course, that they would be opening another office and eventually I'd be the broker of that office. And so I did. I worked very hard. I got my broker's license, and I guess those things weren't coming into play fast enough for me. And so between that and some actual other local companies, big brokerages, not big box companies, boutique style brokerages that are big in our area, started moving to EXP. And that was like a big eye opener for me, because I was like, wait, we're turning, things are changing here, you know? And so I'm like, I don't want to be behind, because although that big company moved over there, there's still a lot of opportunity. And so I was like, wait, hold on. Burleson County is getting into technology now. Like, we gotta reassess here and figure out what our next steps are, basically.
And at that point, so you were like almost 2 years in with this like boutique company, and you learned land, farm and ranch, all different kinds of stuff. But were you starting to get like that hunger for something bigger? Were you not getting fulfilled there?
Yeah, I felt like I guess I felt like there was starting to be a ceiling on me again, and I don't like that feeling. I never have. I mean, that's why I'm in real estate, and I felt that ceiling just like creeping in more and more and more, and it was very uncomfortable. And just like, I mean, I had my biggest year last year. I did almost 8 million in sales, just me, which is pretty big for, I guess, our area. And 38 sales total. So again, that's pretty high numbers for our area. And when I looked at those numbers, I was like, how do I double that for next year? Because of course I always want to keep growing. And I didn't know how I was going to double that at that company. It just wasn't like doable, I guess you could say. It was, but I was going to have to start a team. My cap was going to be way higher. And
how high?
Like close to 35,000.
Insanity.
So yeah. So I was like, okay, so I have a girl, Kimber, who works for me, and she does more of client relations, and she's actually running our new social media page too. So she's doing great with that. But her main job is to basically an ISA. She contacts clients, ask them what they're looking for, gets them set up on search results, follows up with them, that kind of thing. And so she's getting her real estate license. So, of course I had plans to grow a team, but I'm like, to still double is going to be really, really, really hard. And I'm pregnant. So of course, like, I want to double my business, but not work as hard to double my business this year, because I have big plans for my daughter, of course. So that was a big thing to take into consideration as well. And so when I was looking at numbers and goals and stuff, I'm just like, I don't physically know how I'm going to do this. Like, I wouldn't say impossible, but almost impossible. Like, you need to be in a room where people are doing that. And I wasn't in a room like that anymore. And so that's where I was like, okay, either I'm going to have to invest a lot of money into flipping properties or Airbnbs to build this residual income, or go back to EXP. My cap is way less. I can build a team with so much ease, and I actually, production-wise, qualified to bring team members in with only an $8,000 cap for those team members, which helps them and helps me. And so between those two things alone was a big deal. Monthly fees being cheaper, I mean, it adds up,
Oh yeah.
But then just like revenue share and everything too, like, I mean, all of that is residual income, essentially. And if you get your agents producing and you lead them right, they're going to produce. So that was the big thing, was how am I going to double my business and not do double, triple the work, basically.
So now, an independent brokerage, and actually all she started at Keller Williams was the first company she started with. So then you were at Keller Williams to independent brokerage to EXP to an independent brokerage back to EXP. Now you've got some comparisons. When you look at like all of this, what do you think is going to be like I'm here at home at EXP now. This is where I'm going to stay. This is like I see the future. Looking back at like each different thing that you went through, what are some of the things that you're like, wow, I see how that doesn't work anymore. I see how the independent works versus the EXP model. How can you compare those two?
I think one of the biggest things, and I want to say this in a way of not offending anyone, but I think one of the biggest things is that when you run an independent brokerage in today's day and age and world, it's very expensive. And if you're not having a ton of top producing agents, because don't get me wrong, I have seen independent brokerages out of Houston that are doing amazing, and they do have producing agents and all of that. But when you're looking at your typical boutique style brokerage and you have, 20 agents under you, if those agents aren't all producing, you're pretty much paying your bills out of your own pocket. And what I have noticed that has led to, not necessarily when I was with you before we moved to EXP or anything, but at the past brokerage, it just kind of felt like competition with the broker, because and not to say that she's in the wrong, but she physically had to produce herself, and me being a broker now, of course, I thought of those things too, because my two options that I knew was either I'm going to start my own brokerage or I'm going to go to EXP and start a team. And when you compare all the fees of running your own brokerage, again, if you don't have 20 to 30 agents producing consistently every single month, you have to produce yourself, and then your agents feel like your competition and stuff. And I never want to be known as like a competing broker, but I see where you have to pay the bills, And so that was one big thing. And then two, just not able to like provide the training or technology that something like EXP offers, because again, things like that are expensive. CRMs are very, very expensive. I've priced them. And I mean, one of them that I was looking at was like $1,400 a month for just 3 agents. And I'm like, what? I can't do that, and that's like, I mean, that's a top of the line CRM that provides leads and all of that, but still, like, if you're going to have a brokerage, you want to have the best, right? Like, you want to offer the best of the best. Training's a big thing, because you can only teach your agents what you know. And great, I know a lot. Yeah, I can help with land and farm and ranch and single family homes and this and that. But of course, there's a lot that I don't know. And so if you want to grow your business, if you have a special like niche that you want to get into or something like EXP, like there's thousands of classes on everything you want to learn. You want to learn social media, it's there. You want to learn, I don't know, whatever, it's there. Like there's so many different things. But not only that, there's groups, and you have a question about something, someone's bound to answer, because I think EXP's at what, like 80,000 agents now?
Like 88,000.
Yeah, when I left EXP 2 years ago, it was at 27,000. So, I mean, when you think about that number of people that you're connected to, when you literally, like, everyone wants to help everyone. So you're like, hey, not only referrals, but hey, how are you doing this? People are willing to share. And being at a small boutique brokerage, not that people aren't willing to share, but it does feel like more competition. Okay. People withhold information. And yeah, I mean, and then you, like I said, you can only teach what you know. And sure, you can have lenders come in, but you can only have so many lenders come in before you're like, I've heard all these loan products. Or you can have title companies come in, but you can only have so many of those where you're like, okay, I've learned how to read a title commitment. And it's great. It's all valuable information, but what's the next step? What's the next level?
And I didn't even think about it till you just said it, but like at EXP, I know when you were there before, didn't you get certified in express offers?
No, express offers had not come out yet. It came out like right after I left. But I was a mentor with EXP.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's another stream of income. And like with EXP, you can get certified in commercial, you can get certified in relo, you can get certified in express offers, which is cash offer program. I'm pretty sure that these independent brokerages do not have those certifications. Am I correct?
No. Of course they have, you can always go through designations,
Sure.
but that's like through NAR, right?
Yeah.
Like I think, but that's not like in a brokerage. In small boutique brokerages, it's hard to offer express offers or things like that. Out where we live, of course, we do have some people that had walked in and they're like, oh, I just need to sell my lot. And if it was cheap enough, I would buy it because why not? But that's not anything comparable to like express offers or, anything like that. You don't have yes, we have investors that we work with, but not like a wide span of it. It's like these investors are looking for this specific property and that's it.
So in the 2 years that you were gone from EXP, and I remember like one of your challenges was that there was not really any other EXP agents to collaborate with out there. So you were like, I'm totally on an island by myself. Not even 2 years, but almost 2 years. Have you seen signs of EXP's growth out there?
Oh yeah. So one brokerage moved their whole brokerage over there, and I don't know how many people they have, but I would say at least 15. I know they have a pretty big admin staff too, though. They're pretty much one of the most well-known around here. They moved to EXP. That was huge to me. I was like, wow, I did not expect that. But good for them. And then, so we got a girl in Rockdale. She's just by herself, but it's her. And then I'm over in Somerville. I brought Morgan over with me. She's in Caldwell. And then out in Brenham, there's a team there as well. And then, of course, in College Station, you've had some really big teams move as well. Like Terrence Murphy is at EXP now. That happened, I guess, maybe a year ago now, but that was a big shock too. So definitely College Station, you see it a lot. And then actually, I will even say there has been a girl, and I don't know her name, but I need to find her, that has been listing properties out here in my territory. I think she's out of Houston though. I know she doesn't live here. But she's had a couple of listings out here in Somerville, and I've seen her signs, and she's with EXP. And I remember seeing those being like, where did she come from? So I'm wondering if she's gotten referrals maybe, or what it is. I need to reach out to her. But I did see those a few times, and I was like, who is this? Why is she out here?
I believe now that you're back, you just recently did this. Like I think everything happens for a reason. It was like just your life was changing, and you moved with where your heart is. Now, fast forward, how long have you been there? 3 years?
Since 2020. We moved here April or May of 2020.
You're coming up on 3 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Look at like all that you've done in the last 3 years, but sometimes it takes like that time for you to get to settle in, like find your purpose and find what feeds your soul. And you feel like you found that now, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you have any regrets from any of these changes or any decisions that you made in the last 3 years?
No, I don't. I think there was a reason for everything. And of course, when you look back and you're like, dang, I gave so much money to this other company, and at EXP with the icon, like what I was saying earlier with my production from last year, I would have hit icon and gotten my cap back in stocks, which would have been amazing, of course. But again, I think there is a time and a place and a reason for everything. And so I truly don't feel like I would have learned anything about farm and ranch or land or anything, and just getting my name out there in those 2 years. But I worked really hard during those 2 years to get my name out there and to be known in the community. And I mean, I'm not the number one known agent in the community yet, so we're working on it. But there was a reason for it, and I don't regret it. But it's, one of those things that's like you kind of know in the back of your mind, this isn't forever. That's kind of how I felt. Like I knew that at some point something's going to change, and then here we are.
And a lot of people, when they go through like all that you did, you've gotten your broker's license, you've been and you saw different models and what works and what doesn't. And again, you come to the crossroad where it's like, do I open my own brokerage or do I go join another company? And I know you went to that crossroad. What made you decide I'm not doing the independent brokerage thing?
A couple of things. One, of course, the expenses of running it, because if I were to run a brokerage, I would want to have a office for my agents. And I know that's not mandatory or anything, but to be able to hold them accountable and help them and have a place to go, well, of course, that's pretty expensive, especially if you're talking about buying a building or something. And then two, of course, like I said, CRMs, all of that. I mean, it's very, very expensive. And so in order to do that, I would have to keep producing double and not see a profit, honestly, probably for the first few years. But it's like, how do you compare, like what else can you actually offer when there's EXP that can, one, not only hold the financial side of things, because you get an amazing CRM, you get everything you really need to be successful. They hold your liability too, because when you're a broker and you run your own brokerage and you have agents doing stupid things that they shouldn't be doing, which you see all the time, like that scares me too, because I'm like, that's my name on the line. And here you are like, don't even get me started on some of the things people have done out here. So that was a big thing. I was like, with liability and stuff, like it just doesn't make financial sense or sense on the liability side either. And then with EXP, you have the opportunity to completely brand yourself. So I'm like, I'm still branding myself. I have my real estate team, which is 3110 Real Estate Group. We're a team. It's being branded to us. We have our own colors. Like, I mean, yeah, you have to have the EXP logo on there, but that's it. Like, other than that, you build your own business how you want to completely.
Yep. You're basically like running your own little brokerage within a brokerage.
Yeah, exactly.
With all like the top producers around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who doesn't want to be part of that?
Exactly.
That stuff blows my mind. And when you look at like the people that are in the company, they're like builders. It's like, I'm inspired when I see someone do 2,000 transactions a year and 4,000 transactions. Right. Holy crap, we need to do that. You know? And when you look at like the future of real estate and what's coming and what's evolving and how things are growing, it's like you've seen the birth of super teams. It's like, we had mega teams already. Now there's super teams forming. It's like, dang, I didn't think about super teams, but that's impressive. What do you do? Remain some independent brokerage with agents that you're, number one, I had an independent brokerage and I know how they run. They're not profitable unless the broker's producing or unless you've got over, hundreds of agents and they're paying them in monthly dues and transaction fees. Then you're sustainable. But it's like, what does that really look like? And I don't know if people aren't driven by money, but If you want to make $1 million a year and you're an independent broker running on a transaction fee model, you've got to do a crap ton of transactions, and you better have a lot of agents paying in monthly dues. And when we go through downturns like we're in right now, where the transaction count is down, there goes your transaction fees. And a lot of agents that are paying dues monthly and not selling houses are like, maybe I'm not going to do real estate. Maybe I'm going to go inactive right now. And there goes your transaction fee. So it's like, there's a ceiling on that. That's a broken model.
And it's like, and that's like what we were seeing.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's what we started to see in the brokerage. Like a lot of people were going inactive or, you know, are part-time and stuff, which is fine if you want to be part-time. But, you know, it's just when you're part-time and you're in a downturn market, they're definitely probably not bringing in much at that time. Not with the, you know, I mean, you can with the right leadership and all of that. Yes. But if you're not having that extra help and everything, then yeah, agents are going inactive left and right. So then you're like, okay, now I gotta get back out there and make money. Like my goal was like, if I'm gonna own my own brokerage, I don't want to be a producing broker. I want to be there for support and training and all of that. But I mean, like you said, you've got to have so many agents to have that model. And if not, then you're still producing and then your agents feel like you're a competing broker. And you know, I mean, yeah, you kind of are like, cause you're like, I know I can close this deal. I gotta do it. And so, yeah. Well, and then just, go ahead.
When teams run, I had this conversation with one of our agents today, for a team to run doing sales volume, a high sales volume, it's like, there's so many expenses. There's a staff, there's events, there's like nonstop expenses. And it's like, if your team or your company isn't supporting that with transactions, how are you generating that income to pay for it?
Right.
That's how brokers have to get stuck in production, and independent brokerages, they just get stuck there. It's a prison. But with EXP, as you know, it's like multiple streams of income, and you get around the right people where you learn ideas. You're like, holy crap, I'm going to do that.
I can personally say that like when I was at our last brokerage, I didn't do much marketing wise. One, I wasn't branding a team or anything. It was just me. And I wasn't doing much marketing wise. I'd make like funny TikToks here or there. And don't get me wrong, I was busy too. But now I'm like, holy crap, I need to do a little monthly newsletter or just like marketing things that like a locals guide. Like I didn't have that idea before, you know, but it's just like all that stuff is like coming to me now. And of course now I get to brand it to myself too. So that's exciting. But yeah, you see stuff every day and you're like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. Like I need to do that. You know, why are we not doing that here?
So now that you've went through all of this, are you just excited as all get out to be back at EXP?
Oh yeah.
I am too. I'm so glad that you're back. And moving forward, like you're growing a team there. So tell me where your team name came up with. Where'd you get that from?
Okay, so it's a little bit of a long story. I'll make it short. But in 2019, I was married and I separated from my ex-husband. We were going through a divorce. And I moved into my first apartment by myself because he was like my high school sweetheart. So like when we graduated, we moved in together. Like I had never been on my own. We didn't go to college or anything like that. We just I started my career, I should say. And anyway, so my apartment number was 3110. And I remember that being like one of the hardest times of my life because not only am I like learning to live alone, I'm still pretty new to real estate, only a few years in, still building that business. And I just remember like struggling a lot. I remember like sitting on the floor crying with my friend Karen, like every day, like, what am I going to do? How are we going to do this? And it was a really hard time, but it was a really rewarding time because I did learn how to live alone, how to feed myself and just all of those things. And then still, I mean, I never missed a bill. I can say that I was never late or behind on a bill. There were times that I was like even paying my ex's rent for him, even though we weren't living together. So like I figured it out basically is what it came down to. And I remember the last day when I moved out, I took a picture of like the unit number. And I was like, this number is going to be significant one day in my life, but I don't know why or where or how yet. I had plans to write a book, and I still do. And I was like, maybe that will be the name of my book one day. Or, I didn't know how it would be significant, but something told me, take a picture. Like, you'll always remember this. And so whenever I started thinking about like my own brokerage and stuff, a couple of the girls in my office, at my old office, kind of encouraged me. They were like, Sarah, you have your broker's license. Like, we're all unhappy. Like, what are you doing? Like, start your own thing. Come on, we'll go with you. And I was like, I don't know, whatever. It was just like in the summertime, and we're like, some things had happened, and we were just like, oh, like, we got to get out of here, and then we were just tossing around ideas. And then one night it like came to me, and I was like, 3110, like, I really like that. And I didn't want something tied to my name because Underwood is still my married name or whatever, that we've been divorced or whatever. But like, I had Underwood Property Group at one time, and I just didn't want to brand it to my name. And I wanted something bigger than that. And so I actually started 3110 Design Company before 3110 Real Estate Group. So our design company is an actual architectural design company. So we can do blueprints, drawings, building add-ons, whatever it is, anything of that sort. My friend that I'm partners with in the company went to school for that. So that was the start of it, knowing that we're going to have 3110 Design and 3110 Real Estate together one day. Long term, we hope to have an office with a little studio that, we can show off what we've done with the design company, and then of course the real estate side of things too. But that's where the name came from. And then I was like, it's modern. I feel like you can kind of remember it. And it's not just tied to like Sarah Underwood. Like, it's bigger than that.
I love that. I love your story because I remember all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it well. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? The determining one of the determining factors in there is that you didn't give up. And I remember many times you crying, but you never gave up.
Yeah. And so when I think of like 3110, I think of like, okay, it might be hard, right? Like rebuilding, and not necessarily that I'm rebuilding because, I'm just building greater. I'm not rebuilding. I'm not moving again and starting over or anything like that. But I think that it's just a reminder that even when it does get hard, like, we'll make it. We'll figure it out. There's been weeks, of course, where like, because I pay my assistant weekly, where I'm like, crap, I got to move some money around into my personal account, and not how am I going to pay her, because like, I've let her know that like she will always be paid first. I'm like, even if I have to get out a freaking loan to pay you for the year, I will. We're not in that situation, but it's just, some weeks are hard. Some weeks you're like waiting on a closing and stuff, and you're like moving money around or whatever. But it's just a reminder that like, calm down. You've made it before. You've been through the hardest season. Like, you'll make it again. And it's just growing pains, and like, you'll get there. You'll make it. You just can't give up.
Never. And now the market has shifted. Of course, I'm sure you guys have seen numbers shift there too, but I actually think 2023 is going to be an amazing year. What's your thoughts about the market moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good year. I know a lot of people get stressed out about interest rates and stuff, but I always try to tell them, like, don't fixate on the rate, fixate on the payment. And if the payment works for you, don't let that stop you from buying a home right now. I do think that we're going to maybe not go into as crazy as it was a few years ago, last year, whatever year that was. But I do think that we'll start seeing multiple offers and stuff again. I think they're projecting towards the middle to end of this year. And so out here, it's a little different. Our busy season is really around summertime, especially with the lake. A lot of people look for vacation properties and land and stuff like that. So it's really busy around that time here with land and farm and ranch and everything. Single family wise, we're definitely seeing more days on market. But also I think it's kind of one of those things where we're trying to get sellers to understand that right now prices are not what they were, 6 to 12 months ago. And so that's another reason homes are sitting, because a lot of sellers out here are still fixated on what prices were.
Yeah.
But we're busy. I mean, we put a new build under contract today. We've got rentals going, listings. I've got a listing. I got a guy called me today to list 114 acres. So like, we're busy.
We are. The real estate market come to buy and sell,
Mm-hmm.
So before we wrap up, now that you've been through all that you have, like I always like to give people like pointers. So I want to speak to like brokers and team leaders because a lot of them are thinking about making a shift right now because numbers are down. They're like, maybe I do need to relook at something. What would you tell those brokers and team leaders out there that aren't with EXP? What are like 3 little pointers you could give them or talk to them on?
So the biggest thing I think that is super, super important because most people don't even know about this. I literally found it by chance. Is EXP actually has a cap deferment program. So if you're a broker and you don't pay a cap to your own company, it doesn't really matter to you as much. But if you're a team leader with another company and you do have a cap, I know a lot of people have like said, oh, I don't want to leave until I'm capped right now until April or May or June or whatever. And I don't want to leave until then. Because that was one thing that I was thinking about. I was like, I don't want to leave until May. I actually found out they do have a cap deferment program. You do have to apply for it. I don't know if you have to have a certain number of production. You do have to provide reports showing that you capped and when you capped and all of that. But should you provide all those reports, it was pretty simple, and they actually deferred my cap until June 1st. So I'm not paying a cap right now to EXP. They honored what I had already had and actually gave me another month because I was capped until May 14th and they gave me till June 1st. So that's one pointer that I think is really good to know if you're a team leader and you currently have a cap. And then another thing is just the people you're connected with. Like you're going to be connected with so many people all over the world and I think that's really cool. Trainings, things that you can learn. It's not just you, like I said earlier, it's not you trying to get mortgage companies and lenders and title companies and stuff like that to bring you breakfast and lunch and teach whatever they can. Like there's so much more out there for your agents as well. Because I know as I'm running my team, I'm like the training, like Kimber, when she has nothing to do, I'm like, go watch classes, go learn some stuff, I mean, I keep her pretty busy, but we're trying to get all of our stuff transferred over to KB Core, and I'm like, go watch the videos. I know it. Go watch the videos, but it's all there for you. Everything is there, so it kind of takes a load off of you because you can literally point them in the right direction, and they can do that. They can watch the videos or learn how to do this or do that. And one other pointer. I think the biggest thing is like if you are a brokerage and you have all that overhead, just look at numbers and sit down with someone at EXP and look at numbers and open your books and see like, financially what makes the most sense. Cause I priced it to run a brokerage and I was looking at $200,000 a year and I was like, that's not for me.
People don't realize that.
That's of course having a mortgage on a building and stuff. But I was like pricing this and I'm like, man, like that's a lot of money. I don't think we're gonna do this. And now and then here at EXP you're like $16,000 a year and you can do the same thing. Why not?
Yeah, and then once you hit icon status, you can get the 16,000 back. So basically, you're at 100%. Really?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a no-brainer. Like I don't get it. And when you look at like the growth of the company, like you said, when you left, it was like not even 30,000 agents.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And now it's like at 90,000 in 2 years.
And it's like people that actually are producing and selling homes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the future of your team, what are you guys looking at for this 2023 year? What's some goals of yours?
Okay, so me and Kimber, we're out of Burleson County. Kimber will be getting licensed soon. I do have Karen. I haven't formally announced her yet on our team. We will. We're just signing paperwork still, but she is on my team and she is covering Katy, Houston area. She's been licensed, Karen, she's been licensed just as long as I have. So that's going to be really nice to have her in that designated area. I would love to have an agent on my team that services Austin, because I'm right there in the middle of Houston and Austin, and I can make that drive. But again, with having a baby on the way, I would love to just have someone there. I am a member of the Austin MLS. I do work the area, but again, to have someone there on my team would be so great. And then I think about big cities and I'm like, well, I would love to have someone on my team from like Dallas area too. And just have someone in some of these bigger areas. But one thing about my team is I am very big on quality and not necessarily quantity, because I can bring in 5,000 agents, right? But again, it goes back to if they're not producing or not up to date on classes or don't know the contract changes or things like that, or drama or things like that. Like, we don't want you on our team, right? Like, we want quality agents on our team. Now, of course, we're happy to bring you to EXP and show you the model and all of that, and still help you and grow you and train you and everything. But team wise, we are really looking like for quality. And you don't have to be a huge producer to be on our team. That's not what we're saying, but just someone that goes the extra mile for their clients, because that's what we've always done, and that's how I built my business. So I think that's our future right now. But God always has a plan. So God may be like, Sarah, we have like 10 people for your team, and we could just like grow like crazy overnight. Who knows? But in my head, what I have planned out is like I said, Karen covers Houston. We already have her on board. I would love to find someone in like Austin and Dallas this year. Just some of those bigger cities, maybe San Antonio. But yeah, that's our goals right now.
I'm super excited. You guys, I hope y'all have been like taking notes about this, because first of all, being successful in real estate is hard. Being in real estate is hard, but to actually be successful is even harder. And then to make all the decisions that Sarah has made, and every time she has, it's involved growth, and she's always made something good come from it. And now she's about to have a baby, and she's going to be a mom, and she's formed this team, and I'm like super proud of her. I just love her to death. And I think anybody looking to be part of something should reach out to her, because y'all heard what she wants. She's looking for Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. She's there in the College Station area. So I'm sure agents in that area definitely should be reaching out to her. We're here in the Houston area here. She's got an agent already in place here. So there's growth there happening. She's got a wealth of knowledge already in her.
Yes.
Final thoughts, Sarah.
If you're considering it, just do it. I mean, I know a lot of people see the model and they think about it for years, and don't sit and wait, because I mean, it's just not worth it. Like we said earlier, I don't regret anything that I've done over the past 2 years. There was a reason for it, but it does suck to know that, like, dang, had I done all of that at EXP, I would be probably way further ahead right now. But sometimes you have to sacrifice a few things. But if you've thought about it, then it probably means it's time for you to make the move, and just don't hesitate and reach out to one of us, because we would love to show you the model. And just, I mean, I feel like there's so much more we didn't even go into, it's just endless, everything, endless opportunities.
For sure.
So my cell phone number is 713-828-9027. You can text or call me. And then my email is sarah@3110regroup.com. And then, of course, Facebook, Instagram is just under Sarah Underwood. So you should be able to find me that way too.
Thank you for jumping on today.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm super glad that you're back at EXP. You guys
Yes.
make sure and follow her. Stay tuned. Follow us on YouTube. Follow all the channels. We're here Tuesday, 12 o'clock Central every week, bringing you a different message and a different success story. So you guys have an awesome day.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.